My dear student friends, I welcome you to this lecture in which I will explain you about the 12th class biology standard. What is included in the 12th class biology standard? This is in continuation of my earliest video lecture in which I explained the 11th class biology syllabus. The 12th class biology syllabus is mostly of applied nature. In 11th class, basic aspects of the biology, whereas in 12th class standard, applied aspects are included. This is your 12th class prescribed book published by the NCERT. Like 11th class syllabus, here also 5 units are included. It contains 5 units. The unit numbers are given in continuation of 11th class syllabus. So here the first unit is unit 6th. It is about reproduction in living organisms. 4 chapters are included in this unit. Chapter 1 about reproduction in organisms. The general way of description, right from unicellular organisms to higher plants, higher animals. What are the different modes of reproduction? We find vegetative reproduction in lower plants, lower animals. Then asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction, vegetative reproduction generally by the fragmentation. Asexual reproduction, there are different methods. Binary fission, production of spores, sporangiospores, conidiospores, gemmae, gemmules. Then sexual reproduction is present even in lower organisms also, but various types in higher plants, higher animals. Sexual reproduction means it includes the production of the gametes, the union of the gametes, that is fertilization to form the diploid zygote, and the diploid zygote undergoes reduction division or meiotic division and produces the haploid stage. So here different modes of asexual reproductions are described. Then in sexual reproduction, what are the stages? How the gametes are produced in animals, in plants. Then how the gametes, male and female gametes, come together and unite. What is the process of fertilization? And how the diploid zygote undergoes divisions, that is how the embryo develops. These aspects are described in chapter 1. Chapter 2 deals with sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Flowering plants means gymnosperms, angiosperms. So we give more importance to the angiosperms. The sex organs produced in different organs called flowers. The flowers include the accessory organs like perianth, calyx, corolla. The male sex organs androecium. The units of the androecium are stamens. Then the female sex organ is gynoecium. The units are carpels. Inside the carpels, ovary, and again inside the ovary there are ovules, female gametophyte. So that mode of sexual reproduction in plants, how the male gametes are produced from the androecium, stamens, anthers, pollen mother cells, how do they undergo the meiotic divisions, how are the pollen grains produced, then how the pollen grains are transferred to the female sex organ, that is the pollination process, how the pollen grains germinate, pollen tube, how does it enter into the ovary, in turn into the ovule, female gametophyte, that is embryo sac. Similarly, inside the female sex organs, that is gynoecium, ovary, ovule, how the female gametophyte develops megaspore mother cell that undergoes reduction division and produces an embryo sac or female gametophyte. Inside that there are different types of structures, antipodal cells, synergids, then egg cell, then how the fertilization takes place, how does the embryo develop, then in some particularly angiosperms there is a double fertilization, two fertilizations take place, two male gametes, the pollen tube carries two male gametes and two male gametes are involved in the fertilization process, that is called the double fertilization, which is the characteristic feature of angiosperms. Post fertilization, the zygote undergoes divisions, produces the embryo. From the embryo, plumule, radicle, the cotyledons develop. These aspects we will study in sexual reproduction in plants. In chapter 3, human reproduction. Humans, Homo sapiens, male and female individuals are different. Male reproductive in one individual, we call them as males. Female reproductive system in other individuals, we call them as females. In the male reproductive system, what are the different organs? The primary most important organs are testes, from which male gametes are produced. Similarly, female reproductive system is there. Any elaborate female reproductive system. From that, female ovary is important. From the ovary, the ova or female gametes are produced. Then the copulation process, the zygote formation. In female reproductive system, again there is a special phenomena known as menstruation cycle. Every 1 month there will be cyclic events will be taking place. Then after fertilization, the zygote, fertilization actually takes place in fallopian tubes. The zygote is carried to the uterus. If everything goes well, that zygote after morula blastula stage, it is impregnated into the uterus wall. There the fetus develops. Then what are the changes, post-fertilization changes, how the fetus develops? Similarly, what are the problems associated with the female reproductive system? Then in chapter 4, reproductive health. Reproductive health. Reproductive health is a common problem where there are so many maybe problems with administration, maybe problems with the release of male and female gametes, maybe problem with the zygote formation or implantation or the fetus development. Sometimes other problems are also there. For example, there is a population explosion is a big problem all over the world. In order to control the population explosion, the birth control measures are taken. And what are the different types of birth control measures? Sometimes the health problems arise. For example, the fetus may not be healthy, genetically defective, or mother health may not be healthy. How to terminate the pregnancy? And similarly, what are the different diseases which are transmitted by sexual contact? Sexually transmitted diseases, they are called STD. All these aspects we will study in chapter 4. Then unit 7 deals with genetics and evolution. It is an interesting topic, but at the same time somewhat difficult also. In this genetics and evolution unit is divided into 3 chapters. Chapter 5 deals with the principles of inheritance. Inheritance means transmission of hereditary characters from one generation to another generation, from parents to offsprings. What are the general principles involved? In this regard, the laws of inheritance proposed by John Gregor Mendel are important. Monohybrid ratio, dihybrid ratio, and he has done excellent work on pea plant explaining the hereditary principles. After that also lot of work has been carried out. However, because of the pioneering work, Mendel is referred as the father of genetics. Then in this chapter we will study linkage, how some genes are linked together, how the linked genes are transmitted. Then crossing over. Sometimes the genes crossing over takes place during the meiosis. Similarly, sex determination, how the sex of the offspring, fetus, male, female, is determined. XX chromosomes in female, XY chromosomes in male. Then what are the disorders associated with genetic defects? Some individuals suffer from genetic defects. For example, some people are born with inborn diabetics, type 1 diabetics. It is a genetic disorder, Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome. Then there are so many diseases which are due to genetic defects. We will study them in this topic. Then molecular basis of inheritance. So genes are there. In fact, at the time of Mendel, he was not knowing what is gene, what is DNA, what is RNA, what is cell, what is nucleus. But he was able to explain the inheritance. But now, in 20th century, a lot of work has been carried out with the knowledge of the DNA. Then here we will study what it has been established beyond a doubt that genetic material is DNA. Then if it is DNA, what is its structure? How does it replicate? DNA replication. Then how the genes, the characters hidden in the DNA are expressed. Gene expression includes transcription, that is the production of DNA from production of mRNA from DNA, then translation, whatever the information that is there in the mRNA on the surface of the ribosomes is translated into proteins, that is called translation. Then how the gene expression is regulated, taking the example of operon. These aspects we will study in molecular inheritance. The third chapter is evolution. This is again a very interesting topic, how evolution occurred in nature. Some millions and billions of years ago, the entire world was non-living. From the non-living, slowly, because of some changes, the living organisms originated. What are the different theories proposed on the origin of life? Maybe perhaps first RNA, from RNA to DNA, then from DNA, after that proteins, then a primitive type of cell, then from cell to tissues, tissues to organs, like this evolution. What is the origin of life? Then what are the different theories of evolution? On the mode of evolution, different theories have been proposed. Lamarck's theory, Darwin's theory, De Vries' theory, then modern theories are also there. So such aspects we will study in evolution. Chapter 8 deals biology in human welfare. Biology in human welfare. In what way biology is useful for man? How biology can be exploited for the human? How the knowledge of biology useful to in the case of human welfare. In this is divided into three chapters. Chapter 8 about human health and diseases. Man suffers with so many diseases: viral, bacterial, fungal, protozoal, then nutrient deficiencies. Some important diseases are described here. And what are their preventive methods, control methods, antibiotics, then different types of medicine. Then chapter 9 describes about strategies for enhancement in food production. We need the food because the human population is growing at a very high rate. Then in order to meet the growing population, we have to enhance the food production. Food production maybe in the case of plants. From plants mostly we get the food, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, oils. Then similarly we get the food from animals like fish, poultry, birds. Then what are the strategies? Because we need the food, population is increasing. So therefore, what strategies are adopted to enhance the food production from plants as well as the animals? What type of breeding programs are taken? Then chapter 10 deals with microbes in human welfare. Microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, these are useful in our day-to-day life. In food, just like mushrooms, in the production of antibiotics, just like penicillin, industrial products, or some other health products, the microorganisms are giving us so many things in our day-to-day life. We are getting so many things directly from the microorganisms or the processes that have been carried out by the microorganisms. So what are the, for example, SCP is there, single cell protein. Then similarly, mushrooms are there. Then we are producing the cheese. Then we are able to get the different types of beverages, beer, brandy, whiskey, so many things. Similarly, in our kitchen, we get the curd, yogurt. All these are from microorganisms. So, in this chapter, we will learn about what are the microorganisms that are useful to man in various aspects. Chapter 9 deals with biotechnology. This is a very biotechnology is there since ancient times when man started producing the vines, mushrooms and other things, but recently it has got the importance. Biotechnology principles and processes. Technology being used for to enhance the production of various things from the living organisms. In this, most important thing is genetic engineering, gene engineering, or recombinant, we call it recombinant DNA technology. Now we are able to move a gene from any organism to any organism, from plant to animal, animal to plant, from plant to bacterium, from bacterium to any other. Suppose whatever the insulin we are getting today, it is coming from the bacterium, E. coli, recombinant E. coli. Similarly, the gene from Bacillus thuringiensis is transferred to cotton, that we are calling as Bt cotton. So, what is the process involved? How a gene is transferred from one organism to another organism, unrelated organism. So, that aspect will be studied in process. For example, the enzymes, different types of enzymes to cut the DNA. Molecular scissors are there. Then how to join the DNA molecules, such type of aspects we will study in this. Chapter 2 deals with biotechnology and its applications. Now there are so many applications in healthcare, in medicine, in industry, in agriculture, in environment. Now, the biotechnology can be exploited in any one of these aspects. For example, in environment, sewage treatment, treatment of waste material, treatment of the pollutants. In healthcare system, number of hormones are produced, antibiotics are produced, various types of vitamins. Similarly, in agriculture, as I told you, now we are able to produce the genetically engineered crops. As I told you just now, that is Bt cotton, resistant to bollworm. Then in some other countries, the genetically engineered crop plants are grown. We call GEM, genetically engineered organisms or genetically engineered microorganisms. Similarly, in animal breeding also, the biotechnology is useful to produce to get more the production from the poultry birds, fish, silkworms and other things. Such aspects will be dealt in chapter 12, that is biotechnology and its applications. Now chapter 10th deals with ecology. Now people are preferring to call it as environmental biology rather than ecology. Ecology, we say it is a basic science. Environmental biology and applied science. This is divided into 4 chapters. Chapter 13 deals with organisms, populations, basic aspects of the ecology. What is species, what is population, ecosystem, interactions in the ecosystem, plants, animals, microorganisms. These aspects we will study in chapter 13. In chapter 14, more details about the ecosystem. For example, pond is an ecosystem, lake is an ecosystem, grassland is an ecosystem, desert is an ecosystem, even the tundras are also an ecosystem. These ecosystems, there is an interaction between non-living and living organisms. Then living organisms also, there are categories like producers, consumers, carnivores, primary producers, like this. So what is the interaction? How the nutrients are recycled? Such aspects we will study in ecosystem. Chapter 15 deals with biodiversity and conservation. This is a burning topic, biodiversity. On the earth surface, oceans, we have a variety of plants, animals. This is the biodiversity is the nature's gift or God's gift. But because of human interference, there is a decrease, there is a what you call, there is a reduction in the biodiversity. Then problem, how to conserve this biodiversity? In situ conservation, ex situ conservation. How the biodiversity is lost, what are the causes, and what measures we can take, that is called conservation. Then chapter 16 deals with environmental issues. Environmental issues are there because human population is increasing, urbanization is taking place, industrialization is taking place, new agricultural practices are coming out. We are using so many chemicals. So everywhere there are environmental issues. What are these issues? What type of measures are taken at the national level, international level? For example, there is CBD, Convention on Biological Diversity. So such things will be studied in environmental issues. So thus, friends, your syllabus is divided into 5 units. These units are further divided into chapters. Total 16 chapters are there. And you have to study right from the beginning. In the next class, I will take the unit 1, chapter 1. Thank you very much. We will meet again. Thank you.